Just as a footnote, the move tutor in Agate Village finally has one move that I've wanted to talk about for a while. Self-destruct. I forget exactly when she updates what moves she teaches, but Self-destruct is one of the most important XD move tutor moves. So, here's why. You might be wondering why this is particularly useful when Explosion became a TM in Generation 4, and the vast majority of Pokemon that learn Explosion also learn Self-destruct, so there's really no reason to teach Self-destruct when Explosion is better. However, there are three Pokemon, three especially notable Pokemon, that learn Self-destruct but not Explosion. They are Mewtwo, Snorlax, and Wailord. All three of these Pokemon desire Self-destruct quite a lot for competitive movesets, so if you have access to a copy of XD, you might want to save this Self-destruct move tutor for one of those three. Mewtwo in particular likes to use Self-destruct as a last-ditch effort to get rid of Blissies in Uber battles. Snorlax gets same type attack bonus on Self-destruct, making it particularly devastating. And Wailord, well, it's not quite as notable as the other two, but it doesn't get Explosion, so there. If you want an exploding whale, then Self-destruct is your best option. So that's all I wanted to say about Self-destruct, but it is one of the most notable tutor moves from this game. Welcome back to Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Last time we defeated Snaddle, along with probably the more competent one, Scythopeon Cleef, the smartest Scythopeon in the entire series, let alone Evil Team Grunt in general. And now it's time for the match you've all been waiting for. It's been a long time coming, this has been foreshadowed since the very beginning of the game, but it's time for our toughest fight yet. So, I want to make sure my team is in order. Now, really, I should have grinded a little bit before this fight, but I know that I can do this at these levels. It is possible. So, I'm going to try. I definitely want Skahar leading, because one of his first Pokemon you want to have a Shadow Ball ready for as soon as possible, otherwise it's going to completely devastate you. I'm also leading with Lyra. Now, the main reason why I am is for Reflect. I want to get Reflect up as soon as possible, because that will be helping, actually right off the bat, but it'll also help out later. I'm going to be saving Ricky until last, because he's going to send out quite a lot of Shadow Pokemon, and most of them come later. I want to paralyze the later ones, but the first Shadow Pokemon that he sends out is one that you do not want to paralyze. I'll explain why once we get to the fight. Speaking of getting to the fight, let's do that. Got that lava down there. It's a perfect backdrop for this fight. Yes, it's the guy who beat down Zook all the way back then. Okay, this is a bit of a tangent, but can I just say, when I first saw this dialogue, I pictured in my head DC Douglas voicing this guy, and I can't get out of my head now. Seriously, can't you just imagine DC Douglas voicing this guy, like with lines like this? That's my headcanon now. This guy is voiced by DC Douglas in my head. But he underestimated us, and his whole organization paid the price. So, let's show him our abilities. I do wish that the two bodyguards got their own unique battle theme, but this song is amazing, so I can't really complain about hearing it. Getting to hear it more. So he leads with Swellow and Alakazam. This Alakazam is in fact the same one that he used against Zook in that scripted battle in Gate and Port, so this has been foreshadowed for a while. However, that's not the Shadow Pokemon. The Shadow Pokemon is actually the Swellow. Now, there's a few things that I want to say about this Swellow. This Swellow, as you can see by that trace, has guts. If you're gonna status it to make it easier to catch, make sure that status is sleep, because if you paralyze this thing, you will live to regret it. It has Shadow Break, and it hits extremely hard. So, yeah. It's also very fast and has Shadow Half, so be careful when you're aiming attacks at it, because if it uses Shadow Half first and then you go after it, you could knock it out accidentally. Anyway, this Alakazam really hates Shadow Ball, so I'd recommend getting rid of it as soon as possible, because Alakazam is nothing to sneeze at, even though it's actually the least of Ardos' threats, and that's really saying something. I'm going to go ahead and set up Reflect right off the bat. His Swellow likes to lead with Shadow Sky, so you're usually safe from damage for one turn. Also, remember, Ice Punch is special in Gen 3, so there is that. This Alakazam has all three elemental punches, and all of them being special are going to hit very hard coming from it. Also means it has quite a lot of coverage. This Reflect is pretty much necessary for me, for my strategy, because Shadow Break from Swellow just barely 3-hit KOs Skahar with Reflect Up. Without Reflect Up, it's a 2-hit KO, so that buys me more time. Anyway, Alakazam is down. Physical Shadow Ball is really not good for Alakazam, and now he sends out Kingdra. Kingdra is actually kind of a scary Pokemon. It hits very hard with Hydro Pump, has some pretty nice balanced stats all round, and while its other moves aren't as dangerous as Hydro Pump alone is pretty scary, especially if it double targets you with that Swellow's Shadow Break. Not many things can survive that. So, I like to drop Kingdra's speed with Icy Wind. Now, I'm gonna go for Sing on Swellow. The issue is that if I'm unlucky and Lyra gets double targeted, Lyra is probably gone. Yep, here's that Shadow Break. This Swellow is pretty scary. Don't make it even scary. Huh. Okay then, I think you have a plus attack nature, because every other time I've done this fight, you just barely 3-hit KO with Reflect Up. So, yeah, my guess is you've got a plus attack nature. Which means I really hope this is the attempt of this fight that counts. Okay, my chances of catching Swellow from full health are pretty low, but I want to try and get that Swellow off the field as soon as possible. Getting this Icy Wind up is going to be pretty useful too. Does do quite a bit of damage to Swellow, so it helps weaken it. I mean, quite a bit of damage by weakening move standards. Okay, Kendra's speed has dropped, that's good. I may be able to Psychic it with Lyra now that I think about it, although I would really like to heal, but I would also like to catch that Swellow. After Swellow, what's he probably going to send out? He's probably going to send out... Actually, I probably shouldn't spoil what he's going to send out, but I'm just thinking to myself... what'll I do here? Do I trust that Swellow to stay asleep for one turn? Knowing the AI, I probably shouldn't. But I think that a Psychic is not going to finish off that Kingdra, so my only hope of that is to double target it, and... that'd mean probably sacrificing Lyra. I wonder if I should... Okay. This could end badly if I get unlucky with wake-ups, but I'm going to go for healing Lyra. And I'm going to go for a Psychic on the Kingdra. Because hopefully I outspeed it. Okay, good, the Swellow's still asleep. Hopefully, yes, I do outspeed it. That's good. See, Icy Wind. Icy Wind is a really useful move. Although that Swellow is still the fastest thing on the field, even with Icy Wind up. Going for Hydro Pump again. Very, very scary move, this Hydro Pump. Although I still love how it looks in XD, animation-wise. Okay, that's basically eliminating my Dusclops' leftovers. The good news is it will be damaging that Kingdra residually. That's probably in Leviathan Quick Attack KO range. And Leviathan is the Pokemon that I want out next. So, definitely want to make sure that Kingdra is gone before Leviathan hits the field, though. You know what? I think I'm going to have to go for... Don't know if Icy Wind will finish off that Kingdra or not. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go for the Pokeball on this turn. You might notice I have bought lots and lots of Ultra Balls in preparation for the final battles. I'm going to need them. I don't count on this KOing, but I want to get rid of that Kingdra. So I don't really have much time to weaken it any further. And if I get rid of Kingdra, Lyra should be safe this turn, provided Swellow doesn't wake up. 1. No. That's not good. Please don't wake up. Okay, good, you're still asleep. That's nice. I don't take damage this turn. Well, apart from the Shadow Sky. With Kingdra gone, though, I think I know what he's going to send out next. And that may not be good because it's probably going to outspeed Lyra without Icy Wind up, because Lyra is unusually slow for a Gardevoir. Though Heracross has higher speed than Gardevoir anyway. Yeah, this is a Heracross. I kind of wish that, well, the Heracross was a Shadow Pokemon, but we already had a Shadow Heracross in Colosseum, so it's not like they'd really do that. Because Heracross, as you'd expect, it has Mega Horn. Also, it has Brick Break, so my Reflect could very well end here. So, we'll have to see what happens. It's got Double Edge as well, which it sometimes likes to go for, maybe because of the higher accuracy. I'm going to drop your speed with Icy Wind. Now, this is probably sacrificing Lyra, but as long as Leviathan is fast enough to Fire Blast the Heracross, which it will be with the Icy Wind, I should be okay here. 1, 2, 3. Swellow gets. That's a bit of a relief, actually. We just got a normal flying type earlier instead of Dark Isle, so what does Swellow do to differentiate itself? Compared to Dodrio, Swellow is a lot faster, but has less in the power departments. That is, unless it's affected by a status condition. Guts is a great ability, but in this generation it takes a little bit of planning to get it to work for you. But given that all battles in this game are double battles, you can use Swellow's partner to intentionally target it with status moves and activate Guts. Swellow also lacks Dodrio and even Fearo's excellent Drill Peck stab option. Aerial Ace is pretty much all you're stuck with. Yeah, you do have Sky Attack on your starting moveset, but that takes a turn to charge, and in my opinion, Swellow isn't really bulky enough to take that risk. Before Purification though, Swellow has 4 Shadow moves. Shadow Break hits very hard, Shadow Sky is good if you're using a Shadow Heavy team, and Shadow Half is excellent for catching opposing Shadow Pokemon. Swellow is notably the fastest Shadow Pokemon to have this move, which makes it very valuable as a catcher, and in fact I would highly recommend it for the final boss. Upon Purification, Swellow regains some pretty decent moves. Baton Pass is a great XD exclusive move, you can use that with Agility and not really much else, but still Agility is enough. And Facade is also great. Not only does it gain same type attack bonus, but it's stronger if you're effective with a status condition, making it doubly powerful when your Guts is active. For level up moves, I'd recommend paying the move relearner for Aerial Ace so you don't have to use the TM for it, and you've also got Quick Attack if you want priority, though Swellow's usually fast enough to not need it. Aside from that though, Swellow doesn't have that many options. You can go with Return or Double Edge for normal options if you don't like Facade's reliance on status. And if you have some fire or water types, Swellow is fast and has access to both Sunny Day and Rain Dance, so that's kind of an option. Overall, Swellow fills the niche of a speedy Pokemon quite well, and it's a great user of Baton Pass. But if it's not statused, Dodrio does outclass it as an offensive normal flying type. Next up is Electabuzz. Electabuzz is the lesser of all three of Ardos' Shadow Pokemon, and yes, he does have three, but don't underestimate it. It has a very powerful Shadow Storm, and it can also use Shadow Break, and also Shadow Half. The good thing about Ardos is that all three of his Shadow Pokemon have a way of halving their own HP, so they'll make themselves easier and easier to catch as the battle progresses. I'll definitely take any help I can get. This Electabuzz also has Shadow Mist. Now, normally Shadow Mist is a terrible move, but... oh, my Reflector's gone anyway, so I don't need to worry about it brick breaking me. And there goes the Shadow Sky. But Shadow Mist forms a pretty effective combo with Ardos' final Shadow Pokemon. And I'll talk about that once that one hits the field. For now, though, yeah, Heracross also has Guts, so burning it will be really bad. Should I just keep spamming Icy Wind, or should I go for... you know what, I should probably go for a heal, actually. But you know what, I don't want to win this fight through heal spam. So, I'm confident that Lyra is now faster than that Heracross. So, I will Psychic the Heracross. Heracross does have pretty good special defense, so that might actually KO it. Oh, right. Oh, no, Electabuzz got hit by Icy Wind as it came in. Good, okay. Yeah, so Electabuzz is pretty fast. I was worried for a second Electabuzz would outspeed and take out Lyra. It could still do that, but with a speed drop, that's not likely. So I might be able to get the Heracross down this turn. And if not, I still have all 6 of my Pokemon left, which I usually don't have at this point in the fight. I wonder if I should go for a Shadow Ball just as an insurance policy, or I could go for Helping Hand. No, I think I'll just go for Icy Wind at this point, and then I'll just go for the Psychic on the Heracross. Please tell me, like, thank you, I am faster, that's good. See, Icy Wind working wonders. It is a really great move in these fights. And lastly, Ardos sends out Snorlax, his final Shadow Pokemon. Snorlax! Yeah, that is terrifying. Not only that, but this Snorlax has the most terrifying Shadow move in the game. Going for Shadow Break, huh? Who's it targeting? Well, no Icy Wind for me. I'm not too concerned about this, though. Right, let's see who I send out here. Now, Orson is the only Pokemon I have that can survive that Snorlax's Shadow move from full health, so I want to save Orson for later. For now, I'm going to go for Ricky, and I'm going to Stun Spore. I want to get rid of this Snorlax quickly, because even though the Electabuzz is very scary with Shadow Storm, it is... getting rid of this Snorlax is going to be a relief, I'll just say. I could set up a second Reflect, actually. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because he no longer has Heracross, so I have no risk of this Reflect going down, and this is going to do wonders against Snorlax. That's annoying. So, here's the combo. Shadow Mist sharply lowers your evasiveness, which normally isn't that useful. However, this Snorlax has a Shadow move that is devastatingly strong, but only has 60% accuracy. But the Shadow Mist makes its accuracy very reliable, so that's a pretty nice combo. Here it is, the aptly named Shadow End. 120 base power, and it's always super effective. The downside of the move is that, well, one, it has only 60% accuracy, but that's a moot point when our evasion is lowered. But the real downside of the move is that it halves your HP after you use it, which is a good thing when you're fighting against it, because it makes them easier to catch. Also, that Snorlax has leftovers, so it doesn't quite halve its HP. Right, I'm going to Not Sky Uppercut. That would be terrible if I lost this fight due to misclicking that on the Snorlax. I still want to paralyze that thing. And I'm going to... quick attack the Electabuzz. The good news is Shadow End is the one Shadow move in this game that has recoil, and its recoil is a fixed percentage of your current HP, so it can't possibly KO you. Which is great, because that means Shadow Pokemon can never knock themselves out in this game. Again, another great improvement over Colosseum. Okay, Shadow End is now 100% accuracy, at least on Ricky, so yeah. I feel like, it's funny, like, I underestimated Shadow Mist a lot earlier on, but I feel like a lot of the later bosses actually form some pretty good combos with it, so I'm kind of impressed. I didn't really notice that when I first played this game. Here's Shadow End again. It is going to be mitigated a little bit by the Reflects. But yeah, that almost one-shotted me even with Reflect up. That should tell you something about how scary this is. Shadow End is terrifying, and this isn't the last we'll see of it. Let's just say. For now, I'm actually going to use Leviatine's turn to attempt to catch the Snorlax, because it'll be a relief to get rid of that Shadow End. One, two, three. Snorlax get. Snorlax is an absolute beast of a Pokemon. Especially with the addition of the Shadow move Shadow End, which I talked about in the battle itself. Snorlax overall fulfills quite a similar role to Chansey or Blissey. It has very high HP and great special defense. The main difference though is that Snorlax sacrifices a bit of HP, though that's not saying much because its HP is still insane, for the ability to actually attack, and Snorlax attacks pretty well. Having a nice base 110 attack stat, and the ability to boost it even higher with Belly Drum or Curse. Speaking of which, on Purification, this Snorlax will regain Curse. And you can pay the move relearner for Belly Drum if you want that. Of your other starting moves though, they're a bit hit and miss. Body Slam is nice, and Snorlax likes paralyzing things. But Fissure is... I'd rather have Earthquake. And you're stuck with the worst XD exclusive move in the game, which is made even worse by the fact that this Snorlax might be immune to poison anyway. Speaking of abilities, they're both kind of nice. Thick Fat effectively gives it 2 extra resistances, both to types that are exclusively special in Gen 3, so it's even better here, but immunity keeps it safe from Toxic. Of course, Snorlax also has the option to simply rest out of being poisoned. For TM moves, Snorlax has a few options. It's got Return for stronger normal stab, Brick Break or Focus Punch for fighting coverage, but the one that it really appreciates is 3rd Gen Physical Shadow Ball, which covers very well with normal moves. I've listed Flamethrower and Fire Blast here only because they are Snorlax's best option for hitting Steel types, even though its special defense isn't that high. Snorlax also gets a few interesting tutor moves. With Stab and its massive attack stat, Snorlax hits very hard with Double Edge. Substitute works with its high HP, especially if combined with Curse or Belly Drum. And Icy Wind allows Snorlax to fill a bit of a support role. And on top of just generally being a good Pokemon, this Snorlax also comes with one of the best hold items it could ever hope for, Leftovers. This Shadow Snorlax definitely lives up to being owned by one of the hardest bosses in the game. And then there was one. Let's go ahead and get you paralyzed, that's going to help a lot. And at this point, I'm hoping for Shadow Half Spam, although let's see if he go... Okay, he's fully paralyzed. Was wondering if he'd go into Shadow Storm Spam, because that's the phase that I don't like him doing. Like, as if this guy actually has phases, but anyway. And this'll be no risk of knocking out the Electabuzz accidentally. Still, False Swipe is not a particularly strong move. Okay, you are going into Shadow Storm Spam mode. I usually find that if he does choose to use this, he tends to spam it for the remainder of the fight, which is pretty scary, because that's not going to have its damage lowered by Reflect. He does still have Shadow Break, so my Reflect isn't totally useless. And... let's see, who do I go for next? Okay, Fish Slayer could potentially... get rough skin damage, so I'm going to be sending in Orson now. I usually only have one Pokemon left at this point in the fight, so this is going very, very well. Although I probably shouldn't speak too soon. Orson is just going to throw a Pokeball because I don't want to risk either of Orson's attacks on this thing. Okay, come on, Electabuzz. 1, 2, 3. No, not quite. I'm actually not that frustrated about him breaking out there because I'm not in a really terrible position at this point. Yeah, I knew I had static. Okay, at least you're still paralyzed. And my Reflector's gone again, which means that exactly 10 turns have passed at this point, which means I still shouldn't be using Timer Balls. Yeah, Timer Balls are not really that great in Gen 3 because you need to go 30 or 40 turns before they're better than an Ultra Ball. 1, 2, 3. Electabuzz gets. I've kind of already gone over Electabuzz as a Pokemon earlier in this series, because you can obtain an Elekid from Hordell if you trade his Togepi back to him. The fact that this Shadow Electabuzz exists is, in some people's opinion, a reason to keep the Togepi. But Zaprong does have access to a few egg moves this Electabuzz doesn't. On the other hand, this Electabuzz starts out as quite a powerful Shadow Pokemon, having Shadow Break and Shadow Storm, both of which it can use very well due to its mixed attacking stats, and also having Shadow Half. On Purification, it'll also have the XD exclusive move Follow Me. It's probably not the best, especially considering how bad its HP and defense are, but it's better than Refresh, I guess. On Purification, it'll also regain Cross Chop, Thunder Wave, and Thunderbolt, giving it a pretty nice moveset right off the bat. There's really not that much else that you'd want to teach it. Except perhaps Thunder if you have Rain Dance users on your team. Other than that, everything I said on Zaprong's bio applies to this Electabuzz. It's a fast mixed sweeper that's not that strong, but has a decent move pool on both sides of the physical special spectrum. And with that, the first of Greevil's bodyguards has been defeated. That is definitely the toughest fight we've had to face so far. And I still hear him with DC Douglas's voice. I'm really excited about that Swellow, though. I think that Swellow has a plus attack nature, because it's doing way more damage than it did in any of my other attempts at this guy. And he's gone. Fans of this game find that line particularly ironic, but I'll talk about that later. For now, we can try going this way, but we'll be faced with a similar dilemma that we were at the very beginning. This elevator won't open. So, our only recourse is to go in here, and you might be wondering why I'm not healing. Well, there's a healing machine right in here, thankfully. You will definitely need it after that fight. Now, though... Oh, look! That's Master Greevil right there! It's the end of the game, right? Oh, if only it were that easy. Actually, it was kind of a surprise to me that that fight went so smoothly. Creepy smile. And we have this up. A gigantic wall of glass that's apparently Pokemon-proof because we can't break it down. So, we can't go any further at this point. Our only recourse is to go outside and, well, see what happens. But what happens outside is going to be another boss fight. So, I think I'm actually going to end this part here, only because this fight was so epic that I feel like it deserves its own part. Plus, there were 3 Shadow Pokemon in it. Next time, we will be facing... Well, I mean, it should be pretty obvious, because there's someone that we haven't fought yet. So, I will see you then.